Welcome back to the shed. So this week what am I going to do? I want to try and get a bit more work on the forks. So I've had a bit to think about it over the week. So in the last video, one of the things I had a look at was taking the springs out. Initially, when I just pulled the fork stanchions through the top yoke, it looked like about a 4, maybe over that 4.5 inch drop from the standard America forks, which is quite a big drop to get the stance I like. So that's going to be a bit problematic. So that's almost too much to take off in terms of putting the spacers on and trying to get the fork legs down, because I'm just not going to have enough room during compression. They're just going to bottom out with that. I think you probably get away with around 2 inches, seems to be the kind of, like with the spacer on the damping rod, kind of arrangement to shorten your forks. Any more than that and you are kind of running the risk of bottoming out. So I've got a few options open to me at the moment. Number one, what I could do is have a look at about a 2 inch drop. So the standard sort of safe lowering kind of thing you can do on most forks. Try that at 2, see what that looks like, and if that's acceptable, I'll go along with that. The other thing I could do is do a 2 inch drop and then allow myself about 1 inch through the yokes. About 1 inch I'm kind of okay with. I have found I've got some solid aluminium feet off a cabinet, and I might drill those out. They're kind of half tapped for an M6, drill them all the way through for M10, and might make a set of risers out of those, just to give myself the extra height that I need with the clamp on top. So I might have a play with that. That might be the first thing we have a little look at. I think I do want some sort of riser arrangement on there. At the moment, if I bolt straight to the top yoke, which I like as well, that's nice and low, it's just gonna stop me from being able to pull any amount of fork through the yoke. So where was I? So 2 inch drop, maybe 1 inch there. So that's about 3 inches lower than stock. So we'll have a look, see if that is something that I can work with. If not, other alternatives I could. So I've had a look at the specs. I think the America stanchions are 682mm long. The Bonneville and the Bonneville SE are 605. So I could get a shorter stanchion. I'm looking around about 100 quid per stanchion. So 200 quid for that, and put short stanchions in, which is going to give me a bit more drop. Kind of would like to not do that, purely from a economical sense. I'd rather not spend £200 on that. The other thing, possibly could cut the existing stanchions down. I wouldn't be able to do it, but I would maybe take it somewhere and get well, cut them off and then get them retapped shorter. So for the fork caps, you can do it that way. The only thing about that, obviously not reversible, and or not easily reversible kind of thing, and cost, of no idea what that would cost. Also little things like just wondering how's that going to affect the chrome around there if you're cutting and then retapping in. Am I going to have issues with chrome flaking? Don't know. So again, yeah, so there's 3 possibilities there. See what I can do with what I've got. If that doesn't work, probably buying some Bonneville fork stanchions would be the best one, and then last resort, cut them. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. So I want to try and get the forks apart, have a little look at what I've got to play with and what we can do, readjust them in the yokes. The top yoke's I did the last coat about 24 hours ago, so it's not going to be fully cured, but it is kind of touch dry, and we're going to make the risers. So let's get cracking. Right, so here we go. Here's the first bit. So these are the feet, and as you can see, already drilled and tapped for an M6. That goes down about a centimetre down there maybe. So that's quite nice. I've already got my guide hole then to drill dead centre. I've just got to rig something up to hold this completely flat and level whilst I'm stepping up the sizes down to up to an M10. So I've got 4 of these. Where's the other one? Over there. So 4 of these to play with. 2 for the risers, and then 2, I don't know, it's just a nice block really that could make a nice spacer of some description. Yeah, let's rock and roll. There's old Storm Dennis rages outside, so I've got a little fork clamp that was, I think it was for a steering dampener. I've never used it, but I just thought it'd be a handy clamp, so that I can bite in, because the vice I've got is a piece of shit, so it doesn't really hold stuff superbly, so I can at least clamp it in there and then clamp it in that vice, and should have a fighting chance. There's the black yoke. Going to be a bit gentle with it because it's only about 24 hours since the last coat. But let's have a little look, see what the risers look like with it on. Yes, obviously they will be if I use them black. I don't know if they're a bit too bulky. I think I need to get something that's the same sort of diameter as the bottoms there. Certainly gives us a lot of clearance for pulling the yokes up. Wouldn't really want much higher than that, but so I'm not 100% certain on those, to be honest. Think on that. Right, so I think those, for me, overnight I've had a think on it. They're a bit too tall, I think, and a bit too wide. This is about the height I'm happy with, and I've just marked out a bit of paper. That's roughly about 20 mil height, and I think that feels about right, and that's going to still give me enough room for about 1 inch to bring up, should I want to. So yeah, so I'm going to keep thinking on that. So the next thing to do now is obviously this top yoke's not on because numbnuts here let a bit of overspray go in, so it's quite a tight fit, so I'd have to give it a couple of taps to get that to sit all the way down. I don't want to do that until it's completely dry, but I'll get the spacers back in. They're a spare set of SE fork springs, but get the spacers in, get them back to their normal height, see what the stance is with. I'm just going to have to pull it up with, I think I'll do a 2 inches through, and then I'll try a 3 inch through as well, just to give me the idea of the height, and then how it's sort of the whole bike's how it sits and what the stance is like. and then if I decide that's acceptable, one of those, then we'll start stripping the forks down, ready to make up some spacers for the damper rod at the bottom. Right, so I've gone just straight in. That's 3.5 pulled through the yoke now. I did 2 and it was too high. Did 3, still didn't feel great, so I pushed it to 3.5. So ideally I'd probably like to go to 4, but let's see if we can. It's not too bad. It's a little bit, I mean, I've lowered the stand down, so it's not completely on the weight of the bike obviously, but it's fairly low down, so the whole weight of the bike's not compressing anything really yet, but still like to go down just a tiny bit more, but I'm hoping I can get away with a 2.5 inch drop without any bottoming out issues. It'd be great if I get away with a 3 inch drop and then have an inch through there, and that gives me the 4 inches. But I think let's take the forks apart, make up some spaces, and just go from there. I think see how that goes. So I think I'll probably try and get the fork apart now in this video, and then I'll probably have to call it quits. And then we'll have a look at making the spaces and stuff in the next video. Well, kind of got stopped in my tracks a little bit. 2 reasons. So this video is a week late. I didn't put a video up at the weekend when I filmed the first part of this video because I managed to get myself a little bit of a chest infection and a bit of a cold, and I basically felt like absolute pants, and spent most of the time feeling a little bit sorry for myself and not having any energy to get up and do anything. The other thing is these damper rods are now fighting me all the way. They're a real pain to get out. I think there's another fork seal, Bonneville fork seal video, where the tool that I would have shown earlier in this video, just kind of some filed down nuts, kind of goes in and just slides in and just grips the top of the damper rod, and then you can usually just crack at the fork lower end and get just a little bolt out, and that's fine. These ones have been a right old pain, and they're just spinning and spinning and spinning. So I've tried a couple of different ways. I mean, there is a way where you can put either extra spacers or more springs and kind of reassemble the forks and really push that spring and get the top cap down, and that holds everything together and the friction is enough to loosen it off. I've never been fortunate enough to have forks that come off with that. I don't know, I've never had these forks apart, so I don't know if there's been Loctite put on them or whatever, but that method certainly isn't going to work. I've beefed up my metal homemade damper rod holding tool. I'll show you that again in a minute. That's not doing it. The broom handle method will certainly not work if this is not gripping it. I've kind of going to have to just get a little bit healthier, and then I'm going to come back at it again, which is a bit annoying because I wanted to have these apart by the end of the video. But yeah, let's show you where we're at, and unfortunately we're just going to have to leave it there. Okay, so still here fighting with this bugger. So I've even got this little contraption held up here, so this is my way of one-handed. I've jammed my new beefed up damper rod tool, which I'll show you, in a little vise which I've clamped to the desk, just with a hope of stopping that from moving, and this thing is really jammed in there. But as you can see, it's not turning, but you can hear that's just probably about there rotating on the damper rod, which is, yeah, not great. As I say, I've tried reassembling the forks, putting the springs, putting an extra spacer in, really jamming that top cap back in so everything's shoved down in there, hoping that the friction might do it. That won't. As I said, I haven't got an impact wrench, you know, like a air power or a battery powered one. Let's get this bad boy out. This is my beefed up tool that I made. Just welded this old axle rod and filed that end down, but she's not doing it. I suspect these have probably got some Loctite or something on there. Yeah, so I'm gonna get myself a little bit healthier, get some vitamin C inside this decrepit old body, and come back with another plan to get these bad boys out. I might try heating up the bolt if I can in there, see if that can, you know, soften up the Loctite if there is Loctite in there. Maybe make some kind of, you know, like how your bar ends have like that expanding, or like oh, what have we got? We've got anything here like, you know, this kind of affair where you can expand a bolt in there just to see if that can grip it, but I'm gonna have to get long lengths of threaded rod to do that, and I'm just still sniffling and coughing, so I can't be bothered at the moment, or I haven't got the energy and the drive to do it. So I'm going to be just defeated for now at this point, yeah, give it another go soon. So thanks for watching. Sorry it's not gone as planned. I think getting a bit of drop of the old man flu has probably stopped me more so than anything else, but we'll regroup and catch you next time.